All right, so we're doing number 2 first from the homework. And to review what we've already missed, we've got ax plus by is equal to c. A has to be positive, and a, b, and c have to be whole numbers or integers. Okay? I understand why people are still talking, and this is exactly what happens when I record and I'm in class. So number 2 says y equals negative 5/7 x minus 1. I add 5/7 x to both sides. I get 5/7 x plus 1y is equal to negative 1. If there is only one fraction, multiply by the denominator over 1 each term. So I'm going to multiply by 7 over 1 here, 7 over 1 here, 7 over 1 here. Okay? If it was a negative 5/7, I'd be multiplying by a negative 7. So I'm going to cross off that, and I'm going to simplify before I multiply, end up with 5x. 7 times 1 plus 7y is equal to negative 1 times 7 is what? Negative 7. And I'm done. Okay? So when there's one fraction, you just multiply by the denominator over 1. Let's look at what happens when we deal with something like number 1. Y is equal to 1/10 x minus 3/5. Okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my 1/10 over. So I'm going to subtract 1/10 x from both sides. If you are not, don't try and work 3 problems across and cram things in, and you've got to leave space. You've got to keep things situated, lined up, correct. Okay? So I've got negative 1/10 x plus 1y is equal to, because those cancel out, negative 3/5. So this is the situation where I have 2 fractions. Now, in this situation, the least common multiple is what? 10, okay? Because 5 goes into 10 and 10 goes into 10, okay? Sometimes it works to be something different, but you have to find the least common multiple of both your denominators. And yes, because this is a negative in front of my x and I have to be a positive, I'm going to multiply this by negative 10, this by negative 10, and this by negative 10. Okay? So in that instance, negative 10 times this, they cancel each other out. I end up with a positive 1x. Subtract 10y is equal to, well, 5 goes into itself how many times? 1 time. 5 goes into negative 10 how many times? Twice. So I should probably put a negative 2 so I don't forget that it's still a negative number, right? Negative 2 times negative 3 gets me positive 6. Some of you need to use your calculators when you're dealing with integers. It's just the way it needs to be. Okay? So, is that the answer? Yes, that is the answer. Okay? That is the same. If I tried to turn it back into a y equals, that would be the only way to do a check. If I came over here and did x minus 10y is equal to 6, I could check it by trying to do the opposite and turning it into a y equals, which most of you would be pretty comfortable with. Subtract x, I get negative 10y is equal to negative x plus 6. Divide by negative 10, negative 10, negative 10. And I'm going to get y is equal to, what happens here? 1/10 x, right? It's positive. And then I've got plus, and you simplify your 6 over 10. It's not even a plus anymore, is it? It's a subtract 3 over 5, because 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 10 5 times, so there's my check. Now, what happens when I end up with, let's flip the page here and let me show you something different. What happens when I end up with a y, I don't know, 5y is equal to, and I'm making this up out of my head, let's do a 7/5 x. Oh, but that's not going to work. I like, let's do 3/4 x, subtract 2 6, which it would be 2 6, it'd be 1/3, wouldn't it? So let's write 5y is equal to 3/4 x minus 1/3. Okay? 3 doesn't go into 4, does it? No, and 4 doesn't go into 3. So first I'm going to bring my x over. Negative 3/4 x plus 5y is equal to negative 1/3. So this is a situation where you've got to find the least common multiple. Okay? So the least common multiple of 4 and 3 is 12. Okay? And if I was to, I'm just trying to come up with some scenarios so that I can help you. Let's say I forget to multiply by a negative. So I've got 12 over 1, 12 over 1, and 12 over 1. Okay? And I would highly suggest that most of you do this in your calculator, but some of you are going to think you know better, and then you're going to get it wrong. So I get 3 times negative 3, which is what? Negative 9x. I get 12 times 5, which is plus 60y, is equal to, 3 goes into itself, 3 goes into that, 4. So I get negative 4. Am I done? No. So how do I get rid of that negative sign out there? Negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. So if you forget the first time, there's an easy solution. Okay, you don't have to sit there and erase and do the whole thing over with. So negative times a negative gives me a positive. Negative times a positive gives me a negative. And a negative times a negative gives me a positive. Okay? And that's all there is to this. And I'm not going to make you sit here, and I'm not going to take up any more of your time, because I'm going to try and help you so that you don't have any homework this weekend if you get to work.